Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the 3,000 mile, 3-month review on my 2019 Ram Rebel, kind of my feelings overall on the truck, and then I will kind of cap things off on this video on whether or not I think that you should get the new generation Ram, or more specifically the Ram Rebel as well. So if you guys don't know, I just purchased this truck back in June, and I have put just over 3,000 miles. I'll show the odometer in a minute, but I put just over 3,000 miles on this truck. I've absolutely loved it overall, but let's get into kind of like the more specific stuff on the video. Okay, so we can see the mileage right there, 3,283 miles, which that's not a whole lot of miles. It's only about 1,000 miles a month, which, yeah, I mean, that's not a whole lot, but it's not too bad. But anyways, let's actually pop fully inside so we can start it up and go over more of the important facts and figures. I'm going to keep the door open, by the way, so you guys can kind of see what's happening here. So you can see I usually have it up as like a speedometer here. But anyways, this is the first thing, is oil life. So you can see that's only at 56%. So after just over 3,000 miles, the oil life is only at about 56%. So that means at about 6,000 miles, that's when I have to do my first oil change. Take that with a grain of salt though, because I kind of drive this truck very aggressively, and you're gonna see that in a second with the next number, which is fuel economy. Yeah, so you can see that fuel economy is kind of abysmal, but it's less of this truck and it's more of the driver. So like, I floor it all the time. I drive this truck super aggressively, so I'm not gonna get good fuel economy. I mean, you guys have seen the videos of me doing donuts in the truck and launches and all this kind of stuff. All that, like, that is literally like, I mean, I don't do donuts every single day, but like, I just like, I'm always like flooring the truck. I don't know, I like to have fun, and so I'm not gonna get the best fuel economy. So this fuel economy number that you're seeing, absolute worst case scenario with the truck. I actually asked one of my coworkers that has a 2019 Bighorn, and I have another coworker that has a 2019 Laramie Sport, and both of them are getting, you know, between 15 to 17 miles per gallon. It kind of varies depending on the time of year, and they're kind of more rational, sane drivers, which I'm guessing a lot of you guys that watch me kind of drive a little bit more normally than me, instead of just, you know, flooring it all the time. But yeah, so you're gonna get somewhere in the range. And by the way, so the one with the Laramie, he has the e-torque. This truck has the e-torque that I have, and then one with the Bighorn does not have the e-torque. He actually gets the best fuel economy. So I think it's more driver than truck system sometimes. But anyways, let's pop under the hood now. Oh, the hood's already popped. Awkward. So you guys can see under the hood here, it is absolutely disgustingly dirty. So this is all of the dust that is still under the hood of the truck from when I did donuts and all that kind of shenanigans, basically. But I mean, other than being dirty, it's, you know, it's done really good. So what I kind of like and dislike about the powertrain is, so I love the power delivery with that 8-speed automatic. The e-torque system, so that's that little box right there. I haven't noticed that a whole lot with the truck. I mean, I've noticed a little bit better fuel economy compared to my 2018 Rebel, but other than like the auto stop start function helping out with that, it hasn't seemed all that much different. Like, I don't feel any extra like power torque going off the line. However, what I have heard is with this new e-torque system, when you are towing a trailer off the line, it helps out substantially more in that case. But other than that, it feels pretty much identical. Now we're looking at the fog lights, because this is one of the features that I've absolutely loved. So you got fog light, oh, I can't see the other one on the other side. But you have fog lights on both sides, and the reason that I've loved the fog lights is when you actually make a turn, so like when you turn the steering wheel one way or the other, when the lights are on, it actually illuminates one of the fog lights. Let me see if I can actually get it to do it. I'll pop on the truck quickly and we'll turn on the lights and the steering wheel. So we've got the lights on. We don't have the fog lights on, so you can see fog lights are not on. And then we will turn the steering wheel, and I don't know if it'll do it unless it's in drive or not. Okay, so it's not gonna do it. Maybe the truck has to be in drive, which then it's not gonna help us out. So I probably won't be able to show this to you guys, because I can't put the truck into drive but then also film the outside of the truck. That doesn't really work since I'm kind of a one-man band right now, so sorry. But I mean, regardless, I've really liked that fog light feature basically. So like it'll illuminate the paths when I'm turning. So especially at night, like this neighborhood that I'm in, the roads are pretty wide in general, but there's like a ton of cats and other animals and everything that are always like running through at night. And so it's nice that I have that feature so that I don't accidentally run them over, which would be really sad. But that is one feature that I have loved. I know that you get it on the Laramies as well, and then the Limiteds have like the weird adaptive lights because they don't have these reflector lights that the Rebels and Laramies have, and so then it just does it with the light system. But then that brings us to the next thing on the front. So parking sensors, I've absolutely loved this. So in the last generation Rebel, they did not have parking sensors on the truck, but they finally put parking sensors on the Rebel, which has helped out a ton, especially with pulling into tight spaces. It's made parking a whole lot easier with the truck in general. Now, one of my minor dislikes that you can see kind of right here, so look at the tire. I absolutely love these tires on the off-road, but I mean, you can kind of just see like aesthetic wise, I kind of wish that they did a little bit wider tires from the factory. So from the factory, most truck manufacturers do 275mm tires, which that's how wide these are, 275mm, which I mean, especially when you have the truck like this, it just kind of looks really small. And so I wish that they would bump up to like 295mm, something like that, just a little bit beefier. Obviously that'd be even better on certain off-road situations. I mean, you know, more surface area is always better, I feel like, whenever you're off-roading a vehicle, but I just wish in general that they would have a little bit wider tire. It'd look a little bit better, and I feel like you could easily fit 35s under the truck as well. I mean, the Ford Raptor does that, and so I feel like they should do that on the Rebel too, just to, I mean, I know it doesn't directly compete with that truck, but just kind of make it so that it's somewhat closer to that truck, so then it kind of makes this truck a little bit more legit, essentially. Well, now I've got to pull my truck forward to show you the next thing, so oh wait, we're already maxed out. Okay. See, parking sensors save me from hitting that tree. Okay, now let's head out to the back. So this next thing is with the back, and you can notice that it's super dirty because I've got all these trees that are kind of pouring stuff down onto my truck. And look, I should have cleaned that too. That is a 3-week-old sand. But anyways, in terms of the bed on the new trucks, I've absolutely loved it, especially these little tie downs that they do. So this new bed utility group, that's something that's new that they released for 2019, is the bed utility group. And just like tying things down onto the bed has been a ton of fun. Basically, it makes things easy. So I just use those basically, and you can use these little hooks too, but just securing things in the bed, it makes it a whole lot easier in general with the truck. So that's something that I've loved about the trucks. Something that I haven't loved so much is, so this is a spray and bed liner that I got done after the fact. I kind of wish that they would just make spray and bed liners standard equipment on trucks. I know that they don't do that because they're trying to keep the cost down, but I think that this is something that everyone wants anyways, and it protects the truck, and yeah, so I just wish that this was standard equipment, and it's not. So yeah. Oh, and then also LED bed lights, you can see that they are on because I have the stuff open, but I mean, I've loved them. I love them in the past generation, just letting a lot more light into the truck, especially at nighttime. It helps out a lot. The one complaint that I do have is this cab light up here. They just use a halogen bulb for that. I wish that they would use LEDs, because if they're going to use LEDs in the bed and then you use LED lights here and LED lights up front, then I hate that they cheaped out and didn't use LED lights up there. So that's something that's kind of annoying, and that I haven't liked so much about the truck over the last 3 months. Oh yeah, and then this is another thing that I haven't liked. So with the bed, you have to like really shove it into place, or it gives you like a tailgate ajar warning, which is super annoying. So that's one thing that's been kind of frustrating, is if you have like the soft like lowering. So like this, I don't have the thing on the key fob, which makes it even worse, but I still have like the soft lowering on the bed. You have to like really shove it into place to get it to fully lock out, which I feel like I'm breaking the truck, but really all I'm trying to do is just close the bed. So as you can see, that is the next thing, and I've kind of liked the exhaust system in general. It sounds okay, but I just wish it was a little bit louder from the factory. I know that there's a ton of aftermarket support for the 5.7 Hemis in general, but also for the exhaust systems on these. And I know I could make this a lot louder, but I just wish from the factory they made it a little bit more rumbly. But actually in general, compared to like all the other trucks out there, even Chevy has that new, it's not really new, but they have that 6.2 liter they've been using in their trucks for a while, and this sounds better than that truck from the exhaust notes. So like from the factory, this sounds pretty much close to the best, except I do like the Raptor sound. Even though it's a V6, it sounds good for a V6, but yeah, just kind of wish that that was, you know, a little bit louder, essentially. So the next thing is gonna be back here. I have absolutely loved this little power outlet. Essentially, I haven't really used that little storage container, to be honest, but I use that to charge my camera stuff all the time and my laptop, and then the little USBs. And then up there at the cup holders, just kind of a nice feature. So especially if someone in this middle seat, which you wouldn't be able to access these cup holders, they still get those. And the old generation of the cup holders down there, which was kind of silly. And then something that I haven't really liked all that much is this under seat storage. Just, I kind of like the previous generation a little bit more, but I like the fact that you can make this completely flat. So it's kind of like you give and you take on this. I would rather have this system than what was in the previous generation. And then my last thing back here is with the ice buckets. I've noticed that these, it's harder to fit things in than the prior generation just because they did the weird shape on them. So I kind of wish that they kept the shape. Oh, that mat's gonna be like that, it's gonna annoy me. Anyways, I wish that they kept the shape on the last little ice buckets, but I mean, again, I'm not gonna complain too much. And we'll kind of finish this thing off, I think, with stuff at the front function wise. Half this video is just gonna be me opening and closing doors, by the way. So, you can see all the vehicles that I have on my list to review in the next little bit. But anyways, this power outlet is super annoying. It's almost impossible to use. I've noticed just because of the little phone holder just above the power outlet makes it extremely difficult to use. So I actually have never used this power outlet. I always have to use the one in the back instead of this one. So that's been a frustrating function. Haven't really used the CD player all that much. And then if I actually turn on the truck, so you can see these functions here. So on all of these functions here, everything here's, I don't have any complaints. I love the whole setup of all of this stuff, except this one parking sensor. I noticed that whenever I put my phone here, I accidentally knock the button for this parking sensor, but that's not really a complaint. It's just kind of something that I live with. And over here for the drive modes, this super easy to use, and then auto stop start, hill descent control, and axle lock, again, super easy to use. So they did a good job. Sometimes though, whenever I use these, I kind of have to like shift myself, because I mean, you imagine, so you're sitting here as a driver and you just look, you can kind of see the buttons, but sometimes I kind of have to like duck a little bit to see them. So it's kind of annoying that they're right below the dial. Maybe they should have tried to make it so the dial is down in that area and then they're basically above the dial, if that makes sense. And I just got low on fuel because I've been running the truck. And my mouth, look at that, I think it just went down. I think it was 13.3 when we started this video. So me sitting here idling has made my fuel economy even worse. But anyways, all the controls up here, if you guys are wondering, super easy to use, except sometimes I get the power rear sliding window button mixed with the sunroof button because I just don't look and then just quickly press a button. And sometimes when I mean to open up the sunroof, I open up the window in the rear, but that's not a huge issue in general up there. I love that they do LED lights in the interior. And again, that's why I am so upset that they don't do LED lights for the cab light, because that is literally the only light, I'm pretty sure, in the entire truck that is not LEDs, because the front headlights are LEDs, the rear taillights are LEDs, the bed lights are LEDs, interior lights, these are all LEDs, but then that cab light is not an LED light. So that's kind of frustrating to me, but again, something that I've kind of learned to live with. Love that feature. But anyways, I guess that we should cap off the video essentially. So I have absolutely loved the truck so far, and most of my complaints are very, very little things that, you know, honestly I could change. Like for example, I'm sure that I could get an aftermarket unit for the LED lights. Again, I could get aftermarket tires, so I could get a little bit wider tires so I can have a different look. And then again, I could get an aftermarket exhaust so then the truck sounds a little bit better. So most of my complaints are kind of unfounded because they're quick, easy fixes. I just wish that they would offer that kind of stuff from the factory one way or another essentially, but you know, it is what it is essentially. So to really sum things up on this video, what I feel overall, if you're in the market for a kind of like more of an off-road truck, which a lot of people nowadays are, they just like the look of these trucks in general, and they want something that's a little bit more capable that they can actually take off-road, which a truck's kind of meant for, you know, towing and then also that off-road ability as well, then I feel like in its segment right now, the Rebel is the best truck. And what I mean by its segment is, I feel like the GMC AT4 kind of competes against the Rebel. It seems like it's a little bit above, especially price point wise, it's a little bit above. But that pretty much is in that segment. The Chevy Trail Boss as well, and then you've got the Ford FX4. I feel like the Rebel looks pretty close to the best on the exterior. The AT4 might look a little bit better with some elements on it. Definitely they all look better than the FX4 because, yeah, it just doesn't really compete. Interior wise, the interior on this is definitely the nicest. The GMC interiors are just complete garbage, to be honest, and same with Chevy. And sorry, if you're one of the Chevy or GMC dealers I work with, sorry, but it's true. I mean, you guys know it, everyone knows it, and so the interior on this is definitely nicer. So exterior styling, that's going to be up to you. I feel like this is the best offering in that truck segment. So if you guys are kind of on the fence and if you should get this truck, or you should get kind of, you know, a 2019 Ram in general, or the new 2020s that just came out, I would do it. It's a great truck. You're gonna love it. And I mean, that's pretty much it. It's the best truck that I have owned so far. I absolutely love it, and I'm excited for all the stuff that I can do with it in the future. So that is going to sum things up for today's video. I really appreciate all of you for watching. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then I probably actually am going to release a video later today on whether or not I should trade this truck already. So not 100% sure if I'm going to make that video today or if I'm going to make it at a later date, but stay tuned for that.